Hi, welcome back. So today I'm going to talk about learned hopelessness. So I spoke about hopelessness last week and the impact that hopelessness has and how hope can sort of drive us in a positive direction rather than the negative emotional feelings of hopelessness. So today I'm going to talk around how we developed learned helplessness or learned hopelessness. So some people might have come across the story around the elephants that get tied up in India. So an elephant is tethered to, or a baby elephant is tethered to a piece of rope when they're young, and the piece of rope isn't really that strong, but it's strong enough for the baby elephant not to break it and roam away and become free or be free. So as the elephant grows up, or as the younger elephant kind of pulls on it, it learns that it can't break this rope, it can't get away. It's tethered to this spot and it can only move within a certain distance or the radius of that rope. So as it grows up, it kind of learns that it's stuck to that rope and to that spot. And as the elephant gets bigger, obviously a full-grown elephant can break that rope and the rope kind of weathers. And this is kind of an analogy or a story that they use, that the elephant learns that everything is hopeless or it's helpless to move beyond this rope. So it just learns that it's stuck in that situation, despite the fact that as it gets older, the situation has changed, or as it grows, the situation changes and it doesn't adapt to the new environment. It just remains stuck in that early belief system that it's stuck there. Everything's hopeless, there's no point trying because you just cannot get out of it. So they've replicated this with puppies in science. So they've put puppies in boxes and they've had touchpads there where the noise comes on, they can touch the touchpad, the noise turns off. And then they move them into a new environment, same sort of thing, but this time the noise doesn't switch off when they touch the touchpad. And then again, the puppies don't do anything, they just bear this noise. And then when they put them in a new environment, the puppies won't even try and turn off the noise despite the fact that the touchpad is there. So they sort of learn that there's nothing they can do. They have to just put up with this noise, that everything's hopeless, they might as well quit. Okay, the research was a little bit more in depth with that, but that's a kind of basic overview. And then they went and actually replicated that again and validated that within humans. So they put individual humans, or looked at people working in sort of cubicle workspace environments, and did a similar thing where they manipulated the environment through several variations and demonstrated that you can teach humans learned hopelessness just through them feeling that no matter what they do, they can't change their environment or they can't change their outcomes. So learned hopelessness can have a really big impact on us. So if we think about what we teach our kids or what we tell our kids around their ability at school or their ability at sport or these certain things, they learn that they're not very good at it. It doesn't matter how much they try, they're just not going to be good at it. And a lot of what we use is comparisons. But the problem there as well is that kids develop at different rates. So a young child now could be underdeveloped compared to all their peers, okay, and we compare them to them and they think that they're not very smart, but it's more so the fact that their peer group is just more developed. Same in sport, their peer group might be bigger, faster, stronger because they're more developed, so they think they're not very good, and they learn this model that they're just not very good. But it could be that they're underdeveloped, it could be that they haven't really spent as much time practicing those skills, they may have less resources, there may be a whole number of factors within these environments, and generally these things are multifactorial, that has put them in the situation that they're in. So the risk is through the way we message them, the way that their outcomes are or the way they view their outcomes, the way that we reward things, they may learn that there's learned helplessness in these situations, or learned hopelessness associated with certain situations. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're not teaching children or teaching young kids within these environments that there's no way out. Okay, and this also has a really high risk when we talk about teaching kids that they're the victim or they're oppressed by something, because maybe in some cases there's a harder path for them, maybe in some cases things are a little bit more difficult, but there's always an opportunity. If one person can make it out of a difficult situation, then why can't anybody make it out of a difficult situation? They've just seen the information that they need, where if we teach these models around victimization or the fact that there's learned helplessness, they just learn that there's no way out, and they no longer look for the information they need to find that way out. And then that has a rolling effect, because they see other people have been successful, they feel pain because they wonder why they haven't been able to be successful, or they feel that they've been sort of oppressed, or the environment's crushed their ability to become who they want to be. And we know that hurt people hurt people. So people that are in pain, they just start to cast upon everybody else or throw stones upon everybody else. So we end up with this really sort of toxic environment where things can go bad really quickly. So we've got to be careful about how we message young kids and how we make sure that we're giving them all the skills and the ability to see what they need to see within that environment to get their own outcomes. And this is the case with a lot of people. If you feel like you've been sort of victimized, if you feel something's helpless, then it's probably just because you're not seeing the information that you need. So if you sort of get into these situations where we have a lot of learned helplessness or a lot of negative feelings of helplessness, then that's going to lead to more depression. And it has been shown that people that score really high on hopelessness, okay, are around about 11 times higher, 11 times more likely to commit suicide after they've been for mental health treatment in hospital. So that's already in a high risk group. Their risk factor goes right up. So in general population, it's potentially much higher. So we just need to be careful that we're not developing these mindsets around learned hopelessness. Okay, a lot of times it's just because the initial information that we've had has indicated that it's going to be difficult at that point in time, and as things evolve or environment changes, we need to be able to update that belief system so we're no longer feeling, or we no longer think that the situation is hopeless. So if you do feel like something is hopeless, have a look around, have a really good look for the right information to sort of determine or understand whether there is a way out, okay, how you get that way out, who you need to lean upon, and what resources you need to assist you in getting where you need to go or get out of the situation that you're in. So I hope that kind of helps give you something to think about, understand sort of hopelessness and learned hopelessness a little bit more, and make sure that if you're in a bad situation or you feel like you're in a suboptimal situation, you can start to change the way you look for the information in the environment so you get the information you need to take the action that you want to take to get the outcomes that are sort of appropriate to you. So I hope that kind of helps, and I look forward to next time.